You pause, imagining the future written in this drift. As time unfolds, the separation will deepen. Galaxies that are now visible will slip farther and farther away, their light stretched until it can no longer reach you. The sky, once rich with countless galaxies, will thin. A time will come when only the nearest companions remain in view. There is a softness to this thought. It is not sudden, not violent, but gradual, as though the cosmos itself is fading into silence. The fate of galaxies is not to collapse together in some grand embrace, but to move apart until each lives in its own solitude. The night sky of the distant future will be quieter, lonelier, dimmer. You hold the image of your own Milky Way, drifting in this widening sea. It will not remain unchanged. Already, it is on a slow path toward its neighbor, the Andromeda Galaxy. In billions of years, the two will merge, their stars weaving into one another, their black holes joining at the center. For a while, a new, grander island will form, brighter and vaster. But even that merged galaxy will eventually drift alone, isolated in an expanding void. So the story is layered. Closeness on small scales, distance on larger ones. Stars gather into galaxies. Galaxies sometimes merge into larger galaxies, but all of them together are carried outward, away from one another, by the stretching of space. Expansion always wins in the long run. You let this paradox settle gently inside you. On one hand, the universe creates islands of light, pulling matter together, igniting stars, building structure. On the other hand, the universe disperses, pulling those same islands apart, emptying the sky over time. It is as though the cosmos is both sculptor and eraser, carving beauty and then letting it drift into solitude. The fate of stars within these galaxies is also written in this quiet script. Stars are not eternal. They are engines, burning the fuel of hydrogen into helium, shining until their reserves run dry. Small stars, like long-lived embers, will glow for trillions of years, fading slowly into cool remnants. Larger stars live, shorter, more brilliant lives, exploding into supernova, seeding space with heavy elements, scattering the material from which planets and life may form. But no matter their size, all stars face an ending. You picture a far future when galaxies still exist, but their stars are old. The brightest ones have gone out. The younger, smaller ones glow faintly, red and dim. The islands of light are still there, but less radiant. Their glow weakens, their edges soften. The sky itself begins to lose its shimmer, and as expansion carries those galaxies farther away from one another, their fading grows lonelier. Islands of light drift into seas of darkness, separated by gulfs too wide for light to cross. Communication becomes impossible. The great cosmic web thins into threads that snap under the stretching. You linger here, not in despair, but in awe. For even in this fading, the universe holds beauty. The stars live long lives, filling billions of years with light. Galaxies carry their clusters of suns like treasures across the ocean of space. Even their solitude is a kind of poetry. Each galaxy becomes a lighthouse in the dark, shining for itself, carrying its own story. And yet, you cannot help but wonder, what does it mean for a universe to end, not with a collapse, but with a drift into silence? What does it mean that everything you see, every glowing island, is on a path toward isolation? You breathe into the stillness of that thought. The galaxies do not resist. They do not fight the expansion. They drift as they must, steady and patient. The universe is not tragic. It is simply what it is, vast, impermanent, ever-changing. Its beauty lies in its temporariness, in the fleeting nature of closeness, in the fragile gatherings of light before they fade into distance. You rest with the knowledge that you live in a moment of abundance. The sky above you is filled with galaxies, with billions upon billions of stars. You exist at a time when the universe is still bright, still full, still singing with light. Future observers will not have this view. They will see only their own island, drifting alone in the sea. They will not know what once was, but you do. You can look up and see the chorus of galaxies, each a companion in the cosmic expanse. That awareness is a gift. The fate of stars and galaxies does not diminish their wonder, it deepens it. It makes every glimpse of the night sky more precious, every beam of starlight more fragile. To know that the islands will one day drift apart forever is to hold their present beauty more tenderly. You close your eyes softly. The galaxies continue their silent voyage. The stars continue to burn, each with its own rhythm, each with its own lifespan, and the expansion carries on, stretching the fabric beneath them. The islands of light float outward, not into nothing, but into more space, endlessly unfolding. The future of the universe is written in this slow separation, and as you rest in its rhythm, you feel both the melancholy of loss and the wonder of presence. For even as galaxies drift apart, their light reaches you now. Even as stars fade, they shine above you tonight. You live in the moment of their radiance, and that is enough. There is a stillness in numbers that feels eternal. They do not flicker like stars, or fade like galaxies. They remain, constant symbols etched into thought. And yet, when you listen closely, even numbers begin to whisper. Their whispers are not of permanence, but of endings. Equations carry truths hidden beneath the surface of reality. You may not see their meaning at first glance, but within their shapes lies the quiet music of the cosmos. They describe the pull of gravity, the bending of space, the flow of time. And in recent years, they have begun to speak of something unsettling. A future where the expansion of the universe does not simply continue, but quickens, until even the bonds of matter are undone. You let the weight of this idea settle gently. It is called the Big Rip. Not an explosion, not a collapse, but a slow unraveling of everything. The equations tell you that if dark energy grows stronger with time, it will one day overcome every force that holds the universe together. Galaxies, stars, planets, even atoms, all would be stretched until they no longer exist. The thought is quiet, but it lingers. What seems eternal is not. Even the fabric of reality could have a breaking point. You imagine the equations that lead here. They are not dramatic to look at. Lines of symbols, curves of graphs, exponents and constants. But within them lies a prophecy. They say that if the rate of expansion continues to accelerate, the distances between galaxies will increase faster than light can travel. Horizons will shrink. The night sky will dim. And then, in the deep future, expansion will not stop at galaxies. It will reach into stars, into solar systems, into molecules, into the very nuclei of atoms. Space itself will become too restless to hold anything together. You pause, breathing slowly. It is not destruction in the way you know it. It is dissolution, a quiet undoing. Not fire, but unraveling. Not chaos, but release. The cosmos would not collapse in on itself. It would thin until no thread could remain woven. And yet, This is only one possibility. The equations do not demand it. They only suggest it, like a faint shadow at the edge of vision. Whether the big rip will come depends on the nature of dark energy, and that nature is still unknown. If dark energy remains constant, the universe will expand forever, but bonds may endure. If it strengthens, if it grows with time, then dissolution awaits. The numbers are whispers, not certainties. You rest with that distinction. Still, you feel the fragility they reveal. You are used to thinking of galaxies as eternal, of atoms as indestructible, of space as infinite. But here, the equations remind you that nothing is beyond impermanence. Not stars, not galaxies, not even space itself. There is a strange comfort in this, though it may not seem so at first. The fragility of the cosmos mirrors the fragility of life. Just as you are finite, so too is everything vast. The universe is not a fortress immune to change. It is a living process, always moving, always transforming, always at risk of ending. To see that in numbers is to feel a kinship with the cosmos, a shared mortality that deepens your awe. You linger on the thought of horizons shrinking. Already, distant galaxies slip beyond your reach as expansion accelerates. Their light can no longer bridge the widening gulf. The future holds even more isolation. But the equations show this as part of the rhythm, part of the breath of space itself. Nothing resists forever. Everything, even light, yields to the widening fabric. What does it mean to live in such a universe? It means that every moment of nearness is precious. The stars you see tonight, the galaxies you glimpse through telescopes, are gifts of timing. They are visible now, but not forever. You live in a rare era when the cosmos is still bright, when equations tell you more than emptiness, when there are still lights to count. The numbers do not rob the universe of its beauty. They sharpen it. They remind you that beauty exists because it passes, because it cannot be held forever. The fragility of galaxies makes their glow more tender. The possibility of dissolution makes your own fleeting existence more meaningful. It was through light that the truth unfolded. When astronomers began to measure the glow of distant galaxies, they noticed something unexpected. The light was stretched. Its colors shifted toward the red end of the spectrum. This redshift was the quiet signature of motion, telling us that those galaxies were not approaching, but receding. The deeper you look into the universe, the more pronounced the redshift becomes. The farther away a galaxy lies, the faster it drifts. This is not the motion of objects pulled by momentum alone. It is the stretching of the universe itself. Space expands, and light traveling through that space expands with it, lengthening like a thread drawn thin. You rest with this thought, and it feels like a soft breath against the fabric of time. Expansion is not only the story of galaxies, it is the story of space and time themselves. The distance between galaxies grows, but the galaxies themselves remain bound by their own gravity. Stars orbit their centers, planets encircle their suns. Expansion does not tear apart what is held closely together. It stretches only the vastness between, like fabric pulled at the edges, while the weave of small threads remains intact. You sense how delicate this balance feels. Expansion does not shout. It whispers. It does not rush. It waits. And yet its effect, spread across billions of years, reshapes everything. The universe is larger now than it once was, and larger still it will become. For a moment, you let yourself imagine looking backward, as if time were a film you could rewind. The galaxies that now drifted apart would begin to move closer. The vast spaces between them would shrink. The universe, still patient, would appear to contract into something smaller, denser, hotter. And if you rewind far enough, you reach a time when the universe itself was no larger than a glowing seed. This vision becomes the foundation of what is known as the Big Bang, not an explosion into space, but an expansion of space itself. You allow the words to soften. It was not a bang in the sense of noise, but an opening, an unfurling, a sudden breath of existence. From that moment until now, the universe has been expanding, carrying galaxies away on its ever-widening current. But, as you rest with this thought, a question curls at the edges of your awareness. Expansion began, yes, but why does it continue? Should not gravity, the force that binds everything together, eventually slow it down? Should the galaxies not resist this drift, pulling back toward one another? For years, astronomers believed, so it seemed inevitable that expansion would weaken, perhaps even reverse. But the universe revealed something far more puzzling. The expansion is not slowing, it is accelerating. Galaxies are not just drifting apart, they are drifting apart faster and faster, as though an unseen breath is pushing them outward. You feel the wonder of this discovery, and the quiet unease it carries. It is one thing for the universe to expand. It is another for it to quicken that expansion, to press outward as though urged by a hidden hand. The word scientists gave to this unseen push is dark energy. You let the phrase dissolve softly in your mind, not because the energy is dark, but because it is unknown. Its presence is only detected through its effect, the acceleration of expansion. You cannot see it, but you cannot deny it. It moves galaxies like lanterns on an unseen tide, always outward, always away. You pause and let the paradox settle. Gravity pulls inward, dark energy pushes outward. The universe is a balance between contraction and expansion, between holding and letting go. You know gravity in your own body. You feel its insistence in every step you take. But dark energy remains beyond touch, a force you cannot feel except through the stars themselves. And so you reflect, what does it mean to live in a universe carried by expansion? It means that everything is temporary in its closeness. Galaxies that you see now, their light arriving after billions of years of travel, may someday drift so far that their light never reaches you again. The night sky, rich and filled with stars, will one day thin. The lanterns on the river will drift out of sight. But this does not feel like loss. It feels like tenderness. The stars are here now. The galaxies are visible now. You are alive in the moment when the river still glows with its drifting lights. To witness expansion is to witness impermanence. And impermanence is not sorrow. It is the gentle rhythm of all things. The breath of the universe continues, soft, steady, unstoppable. You rest in its vast exhale, feeling the smallness of your body against the wideness of space. And yet that smallness is not emptiness, it is connection. You are a witness to the expansion, a quiet companion to the cosmos unfolding. You let the thought end as it began, softly. The universe expands, not with thunder, but with breath. And somewhere in that breath lies a question that follows you, gently, refusing to close. There is a silence within silence, and you feel it now. A universe that stretches is already strange enough. Yet stranger still is the unseen hand that stretches it faster. You know gravity, you live with it, you feel it, you trust it to keep the world steady beneath your feet. But this other force, this phantom, is nothing like gravity. It does not pull, it does not hold, it does not bind. Instead, it loosens, it pushes, it expands. This is the force called dark energy. The name itself feels like a shadow. Dark, not because it is sinister, but because it is invisible. Energy not because you can plug it into machines, but because it seems to act as a kind of pressure on space itself. Yet even these words are pale metaphors, reaching for something far beyond human touch. Dark energy is not light. It is not matter. It is not anything you have ever held. And yet it is everywhere, filling the universe more fully than stars, more completely than dust, more silently than even gravity. You let this thought move gently through you. Almost 70% of the cosmos is made of this unseen presence. If the universe were a great ocean, then stars, galaxies, planets, all the things you know would be like scattered boats. But the water itself, the ocean beneath those boats, is dark energy. You see only the boats. You almost forget the ocean. But it is the ocean that decides how far the boats drift. It humbles you to realize this. Most of reality is hidden. What you see, the brilliant points of light in the sky, is only a fraction of the whole. The universe wears a mask of stars, but behind it stretches something larger, quieter, stranger. Dark energy that you breathe slowly as the thought unfolds deeper. How do you even know something is there if you cannot see it? The answer is in its effect. Dark energy reveals itself only by what it does, not by what it is. You see galaxies drifting apart, faster than gravity can explain. You measure the acceleration. You chart the redshift of light. And in those quiet numbers, you hear the whisper. Of the phantom, it is like sensing wind in the sway of branches. You do not see the wind. You see what it moves. You feel its breath on your skin. You watch leaves spin, rivers ripple. The wind itself remains unseen, yet you never doubt it. In this way, dark energy is like the wind of the cosmos, except it does not stir the surface. It stirs space itself. But what is it really? You pause in the mystery, letting the question soften. Scientists do not know. Some say it may be a property of space itself, a kind of built-in push woven into the fabric of the cosmos. Others imagine it as a field spread thinly across the universe, carrying a constant pressure outward. There are even voices that wonder if gravity itself might change across vast scales, creating the illusion of a new force. But the truth is not yet known. Dark energy is not understood. It is named, it is measured, it is described in equations, but it is not explained, not explained. You are fortunate, then, to live when you do. Fortunate to look up and see the vastness, to know the richness, to feel the fullness of horizons still bright with light. To carry the knowledge that it will not always be so makes the sight even more tender. The night is not forever abundant. It is abundant now, and so you rest in this truth. Horizons fade, galaxies vanish, the sky grows lonelier. But impermanence is not emptiness. It is beauty written in passing. You are not asked to hold the universe forever. You are only asked to witness it now, in this fleeting moment of radiance. The cosmic horizon shrinks, but your wonder need not. Wonder expands even as the universe fades. Wonder grows even as horizons close. Wonder is the one horizon that does not recede. There is a stillness in you as you look once more toward the night sky. The chapters of thought you have wandered through now gather in a single hush. Expansion, dark energy, horizons, endings, all have been whispers guiding you here. And beneath them all lies the softest question. What does it mean to live in a universe that may someday tear itself apart? You breathe into this question, not as fear, but as wonder. To know the universe is fragile, to know its vast beauty is temporary, does not diminish it. It deepens it. The fleeting nature of things is what makes them precious. The stars you see tonight will not always shine, but their impermanence makes their glow more tender. The galaxies will not always remain in reach, but their drifting reminds you to treasure them now. Even atoms, those smallest knots of matter, may someday dissolve, yet their fragility makes your body, your breath, your moment more meaningful. You reflect on what you have learned. The universe is not eternal in its form. It expands, it accelerates, it carries everything away. The galaxies recede, horizons fade, structures unravel. The fabric itself is not fixed, but stretching. And within that stretching lies your own existence. Brief, small, delicate, but real. You are part of the same unfolding that carries galaxies apart. You share in the same destiny of impermanence. There is calm in this. You are not separate from the universe. You are not a stranger to its laws. You are woven from the same threads, bound by the same forces, carried by the same expansion. To know this is to know belonging. You are fragile, yes, but so is the cosmos. You are fleeting, yes, but so are the galaxies. You are small, yes, but you are made of stardust, and stardust is the universe remembering itself. The last question, beneath the stars, is not how will it end. The last question is what do I do with the time I am given inside its glow? The answer is not found in equations. It is not solved by science alone. It is lived quietly in the act of noticing. To notice the stars overhead, to notice the breath within you, to notice the mystery that surrounds you, unseen yet present. You let this thought unfold slowly. Mystery itself is a companion. You do not need to solve it tonight. You do not need to close every question, to hold every truth. The universe is larger than certainty. It is meant to be wondered about, not conquered. The unknown is not emptiness. It is fullness too wide for your senses. To live in mystery is to live in awe. And so, the final gift the cosmos offers you is not clarity, but humility. It whispers that even galaxies will fade, even atoms will dissolve, even horizons will slip away. But mystery will remain as long as there are eyes to wonder, as long as there is a mind to listen. You are part of that listening. You are part of that wonder. You pause and close your eyes. The stars remain above you, but now they feel closer, not in distance, but in kinship. They are impermanent, just as you are. They are fleeting, just as you are. And that makes you kin, siblings in fragility, companions in impermanence. The universe may tear itself apart. It may fade into silence. It may collapse or freeze or unravel. But while it still glows, while horizons still shine, you are here, a witness, and witnessing is enough. To notice the beauty of now is to answer the last question beneath the stars. You let the thought settle like a final breath. What does it mean to live in a universe that ends? It means you love it more fiercely while it lasts. It means you hold its light gently, knowing it will fade. It means you rest in the calm of impermanence, seeing not tragedy but tenderness. Mystery is your final companion, and it does not leave. It walks with you beneath the stars, silent and infinite. asking no more than your wonder, your stillness, your awe, or just where you are going, but how quickly you arrive. The universe, you now realize, is not only moving apart, it is moving apart faster and faster. This is the quiet tyranny of acceleration, soft but absolute. You let the idea drift into your thoughts. Expansion alone would already be strange enough. The galaxies drifting apart, the light stretching, the spaces widening. But acceleration makes the strangeness deeper. It means that the farther you look, the faster galaxies recede. It means that the longer time goes on, the quicker the separation becomes. It is as though the universe is a river flowing outward. At first, the current is slow, gentle, almost unnoticed, but as it flows, it quickens. The water rushes faster. You cannot stop it. You cannot swim against it. You can only drift with it, carried farther and farther away. This acceleration was not expected. For much of history, scientists assumed gravity would slow the expansion. The universe might expand forever, yes, but at a decreasing pace. Or perhaps, with enough matter, it might even reverse, collapsing back into itself. But when astronomers measured distant supernova, they saw something astonishing. The light revealed that expansion was speeding up. The cosmos was not slowing. It was quickening. The discovery was quiet but revolutionary. It was as if the universe had turned its face, revealing a secret hidden for billions of years. Expansion was not a fading echo of the Big Bang. It was a living process, driven by something unseen, pressing outward with gentle but unstoppable insistence. You pause here, letting the word gentle rest in you, for acceleration does not announce itself with violence. It is not thunder, not explosion. It is softness, patience, inevitability. You cannot feel it in your body. You cannot notice it in the stars above you tonight. But across billions of years, its effect reshapes everything, and so you dwell on its tyranny. Not tyranny in cruelty, but tyranny in certainty. The acceleration cannot be argued with. It does not bend to will. It does not pause for comfort. It moves onward, and all things follow. Galaxies drift away, not because they choose to, but because space itself insists. The very ground of reality carries them outward. The thought carries both unease and calm. Unease because you see how powerless everything is against it. Even gravity, the force that binds planets, stars, and galaxies, cannot overcome expansion on the largest scales. Calm because there is no violence in it, no rage, only inevitability. It is a river flowing onward, and you are simply a drop carried. Within it, you rest in the paradox. Acceleration is gentle, yet unstoppable. It is soft, yet absolute. It is invisible, yet it rules the destiny of the cosmos. You let your awareness drift to the far future. Acceleration means horizons will shrink. Galaxies that you can see today will slip beyond reach. Their light will never arrive. The sky will thin, not because stars go out, but because their light can no longer cross the widening gulf. Acceleration erases not by destroying, but by separating. It does not end galaxies, it hides them. This hiding is quiet, but profound. To live in the present is to live in a universe still filled with visible companions, with billions of galaxies shining across the dark. But to live in the far future will be to live in isolation, with only the nearest galaxies visible, the rest already carried beyond the horizon. Acceleration writes loneliness into the destiny of the cosmos. Yet even here you find tenderness. You live in an age of abundance, when the sky is rich with galaxies, when light still travels across billions of years to reach you. You are present in a rare moment, able to see the universe in fullness before acceleration scatters its treasures beyond sight. To know this deepens your appreciation. Every starlit night becomes more precious, every galaxy more fragile, every glimpse of light more sacred. You pause and reflect on the rhythm of inevitability. The tyranny of acceleration is not punishment. It is simply the unfolding of the universe's laws. Just as tides rise and fall, just as seasons change, just as life itself begins and ends, so too does space stretch faster with time. This inevitability is not something to fight. It is something to notice, something to rest within, something to accept. And perhaps this acceptance is the gift acceleration offers you. You cannot stop it, you cannot touch it, but you can feel its lesson. All things drift apart, all things change, all things are carried forward by forces beyond control. And yet, in that movement, beauty persists. The river flows, but the river shines in sunlight as it passes. The cosmos accelerates, but it glows with galaxies while it does. You close your eyes and breathe. The acceleration does not disturb you. It cradles you in inevitability. It tells you that the universe is always in motion, always unfolding, always moving beyond your grasp. And that truth, though immense, becomes soothing. You need not hold the cosmos. You need only let it be. There is a horizon even in the cosmos. Not the kind you see when the sea meets the sky. Not the edge of land beneath a setting sun, but a boundary woven into space itself. It is the line between what you can see and what you can never see. And as the universe accelerates in its expansion, that horizon drifts closer, slowly erasing what once seemed endless. You breathe into this thought, letting it unfold gently. The speed of light is finite, a constant woven into the fabric of existence. Light travels quickly, but it does not travel infinitely fast. When galaxies are carried away faster than light can cross the space between, their glow can no longer reach you. They slip beyond the cosmic horizon, vanishing not because they go out, but because their light is forever cut off already. Galaxies are retreating into this unreachable distance. Billions of them, still shining, still filled with stars, are invisible now because their light can no longer keep pace with expansion. They exist, but they are gone from sight, hidden by horizons. The universe is full, yet it looks empty because so much has already faded away. You let this soften within you. To look at the night sky is to see only a portion of what is really there. The cosmic horizon is not just a boundary in space, it is a boundary in time. You live inside a bubble of visibility, limited not by how far your eyes can reach, but by how far light has traveled since the beginning. Beyond that bubble lies more universe, but it is hidden, unreachable, gone beyond the edge. And as acceleration continues, this bubble will shrink in what it reveals. One by one, galaxies now visible will drift across the horizon. Their light will stretch, weaken, fade. The sky of the far future will hold fewer companions. Eventually, only the closest galaxies, those bound to your own, will remain. All others will have slipped away, carried into silence by expansion. You pause here, feeling the tenderness of this loss. The night sky, you know, rich, scattered, infinite in its lights, is temporary. The abundance of galaxies is a gift of timing. You live in a rare moment when horizons still hold countless stars, when light from faraway worlds still reaches you. Future skies will not be so full. This impermanence carries both melancholy and wonder. Melancholy, because the universe is drifting toward loneliness. Wonder, because you are alive to see it now, when the sky still shines with billions of galaxies. To know that this view is temporary is to hold it more gently, to love it more deeply, to treasure it more fully. The horizon is not cruel. It is simply the limit written into the laws of physics. Light cannot outrun expansion. Boundaries are part of existence. They remind you that everything has its reach, everything has its end. You too live with horizons, the horizon of your sight, the horizon of your life, the horizon of what you can hold. The cosmos reflects you in its own limits. You breathe again, and the thought lingers. The universe does not fade all at once. It fades slowly, patiently, horizon by horizon. First, the farthest galaxies vanish, then the nearer ones. The circle of light shrinks until only your local cluster remains. The cosmos grows quieter, lonelier, dimmer. And yet, even in that fading, there is calm, because within each horizon lies enough to fill you with wonder. Within your own local cluster are billions of stars, billions of worlds, billions of mysteries. Even as horizons retreat, even as galaxies vanish beyond reach, what remains is still infinite to your senses. You are not left with nothing. You are left with what is close, and closeness carries its own beauty. You let this awareness deepen. Horizons teach you to value what is within them, to value the galaxies you can still see, to value the stars still overhead, to value the people near you, the breath within you, the life unfolding in your present. Fading horizons remind you that nothing is guaranteed, and therefore everything is precious. The shrinking horizon does not erase the universe. It only reminds you of your place in it, small, finite, temporary, but luminous in its awareness. You are a witness to the fading, a companion to the light while it lasts. And in that companionship, you find meaning. You imagine the final horizon, in the deep future, when almost everything has slipped away. The night sky, then, will no longer reveal billions of galaxies. It will reveal only one, or perhaps two, bound together. The universe will seem empty. Those future observers, if any remain, will not know what you know now. They will not see the cosmic web, the clusters, the great abundance of light. They will live in a quiet sky, unaware of what once filled it. And so, you sit with the equations, not to fear them, but to listen. Their whispers do not demand despair. They invite reflection. They tell you that even the largest things have lifespans. They tell you that impermanence is universal. They tell you that endings are part of the rhythm, not the enemy of it. The big rip may never come, or it may wait in a future so distant that no trace of you, no trace of Earth, no trace of humanity will remain. In either case, its whisper is not for terror, but for humility. The universe is not yours to command. It is yours to witness, to love, to marvel at while it still glows. You breathe again, letting the numbers dissolve into silence. Equations are symbols on a page, but they carry the weight of worlds. They point toward possibilities, not certainties. They remind you that reality is delicate, and that even the grandest cosmos rests on fragile threads. There is a quiet in the thought of endings, a hush that wraps itself around your mind like a slow tide. You rest within it, knowing the universe itself is not immune to impermanence. If dark energy continues its patient work, If it grows more insistent with time, then even the grandest structures will yield. This vision has been given a name, the Big Rip. You let the name soften in your awareness. It does not mean explosion. It does not mean fire. It means dissolution, a stretching so complete that bonds cannot endure. What holds the universe together begins to loosen one layer at a time until nothing remains bound. The Big Rip is not chaos. It is an unraveling. You begin at the largest scale. Galaxies, those islands of light, are the first to separate. The expansion of the universe is already carrying them apart, but in this vision the acceleration grows stronger. The distances increase not slowly, but urgently. Galaxies that once glowed as companions drift into isolation, then into invisibility, as their light can no longer cross the widening void. The cosmic web thins, its threads stretched until they snap. The universe becomes a sea of solitary islands, each adrift in silence. But the stretching does not stop there. Within each galaxy, the stars themselves feel the pull. Dark energy, once too gentle to break what gravity held, becomes stronger than the bonds of clusters. Stars no longer circle their centers. They drift away, unanchored, their light dissolving into the widening dark. The island itself unravels, the dance of its stars undone. You pause, letting the thought deepen. Expansion has moved from between galaxies to within them. It is as though the tide, once only at the edges, has now reached the shore. What was once safe is no longer protected. The vision grows more intimate still. Solar systems, once bound to their stars, begin to drift apart. Planets no longer circle. Orbits unravel. The bonds that held them give way. Worlds slip into the void, no longer warmed by suns, no longer tethered by gravity. And then, even suns themselves lose their coherence. Stars, once steady engines of light, come apart. The expansion stretches them faster than their gravity can hold them. Their fusion ends, their atoms disperse, their fire is undone. The sky empties of suns, their glow scattered into silence. You hold this thought softly, aware of its weight. The Big Rip is not loud. It is not violent in the way you imagine destruction. It is quiet, almost tender. Each bond is loosened, one after another, as though the universe were exhaling forever, unable to draw breath back in, and still it deepens. Atoms themselves, those fundamental knots of matter, begin to feel the strain. Protons and neutrons, bound tightly in their tiny cores, are not beyond reach. The expansion grows so strong that even these bonds are undone. The smallest pieces of matter dissolve. Nothing remains bound to anything else. The universe becomes a scattering of fragments, stretched thin across an ever-widening fabric. You pause again, and the thought feels dreamlike. It is not an explosion outward, not a breaking apart in noise or fire. It is dissolution, as though a tapestry were pulled until every thread lay separate, until no weave remained. The equations that suggest this outcome whisper it softly, not with certainty, but with possibility. It depends on how dark energy behaves, on whether it remains constant or whether it strengthens over time. The Big Rip is only one path the cosmos may take, but in imagining it, you glimpse the fragility of everything you know. Even the strongest bonds may not endure forever, and yet, even within this vision, you feel a strange peace. The end is not violent. It is slow, patient, inevitable. The universe has always been changing, always drifting, always moving from one state to another. This is simply another transformation, another chapter in its endless unfolding. The Big Rip is not destruction, it is release. You let the feeling soften. If galaxies drift apart, if stars fade, if atoms dissolve, what remains? Perhaps only space. Itself ever stretching, ever widening, an emptiness that is not empty but vast beyond measure. The universe becomes pure expansion, pure openness, without form, without bonds. There is something calming in that vision. The cosmos began in unity, dense and hot, everything pressed into closeness. It grew into complexity, into galaxies, stars, and life. And perhaps, in the end, it will return to simplicity, no longer bound, no longer structured, but free. The story arcs from closeness to separation, from structure to release. And you, resting within this thought, feel your own place in that story. Your body is made of bonds, atoms, molecules, cells held together in intricate forms. You are fragile, like galaxies, like stars. But in your fragility lies beauty. You exist only because the universe once gathered itself, only because gravity once held matter close. You are a fleeting form in the middle of the cosmic breath. To imagine the Big Rip is to imagine impermanence at its widest scale. Nothing, not even atoms, will last forever. And yet, this does not need to be feared. It can be embraced, the way you embrace the passing of seasons, the fading of day into night. Change is not the enemy. It is the rhythm of existence. You close your eyes. The Big Rip unfolds softly in your imagination. Galaxies drifting, stars unraveling, atoms dissolving. It is quiet. It is vast. It is beyond your control. And in that surrender, you find calm. The universe is wide enough to hold many futures. The Big Rip is only one of them, a single whisper among several possible fates. If you step softly through the pathways that science imagines, you find not one ending, but many. Each is shaped by the same question: how does expansion unfold? The answer lies in the balance between gravity and dark energy, between the pull that gathers and the push that disperses. You begin with the thought of contraction. For centuries, before the discovery of dark energy, many believed the universe might someday stop expanding. Gravity, though patient, is relentless. Galaxies attract one another. Matter bends space. If there were enough matter, enough density, then expansion would slow, pause, and reverse. The universe would begin to collapse back inward. This vision is called the Big Crunch. You let the words settle like a low drumbeat. The cosmos, which began in fire and expansion, would end in fire and collapse. Galaxies would draw together. Stars would merge into a furnace of light. Black holes would coalesce into larger and larger shadows. In the final moment, all would be pressed into a single point, as dense as the universe's first breath. The ending would mirror the beginning. There is a certain symmetry to the Big Crunch, a sense of return. It is a closing of the circle, a regathering of what was once dispersed. And yet, as you rest in this thought, you feel how heavy it is, how inevitable its silence would be. The sky would grow brighter at first, as galaxies rushed together, but the brightness would be brief. Collapse would soon overwhelm, until all was folded into a single, final singularity. But the universe revealed something else. The discovery of dark energy changed this vision. Expansion is not slowing, it is quickening. Gravity alone cannot call everything back. And so, another ending takes shape, the Big Freeze. You let the phrase drift over you, cool and patient. The Big Freeze is the destiny of a universe that expands forever, but not violently. Galaxies drift apart until their light no longer reaches one another. Stars burn their fuel, one by one, fading into white embers, then into cold remnants. Black holes remain, swallowing what they can, but even they are not eternal. They too will evaporate, dissolving into radiation across trillions upon trillions of years. In the Big Freeze, nothing explodes, nothing collapses, everything simply cools. Heat spreads thinner and thinner across an ever-expanding cosmos. Eventually, the universe becomes a vast sea of darkness, filled only with faint particles and cold light stretched beyond perception. This is the heat death, not fire, but the loss of all fire. A silence colder than any winter. You pause in that vision, letting its stillness settle inside you. There is no violence here, no final collapse, only drifting and cooling until time itself seems to dissolve into meaninglessness. The Big Freeze is not sudden, it is not cruel, it is simply exhaustion. The universe grows old, runs out of fuel, and fades. And then there is yet another whisper, the possibility of a rebound. If dark energy were not constant but changed its nature, if it somehow reversed, expansion might end differently. The universe could first slow, then collapse, not into one singularity, but into cycles. The night sky is steady above you, scattered with countless points of light. You gaze upward, and the thought lingers. It feels endless. The stars do not fall, the heavens do not collapse. They hold their positions, like tiny anchors in a vast, invisible sea. And yet you begin to notice the quiet weight of a question that rests within that stillness. If gravity is the force that pulls everything inward, then why has the sky not folded in upon itself? Why does the universe remain open, wide, and ever expanding? You feel the hush of this thought settle in your chest. Gravity is familiar. It keeps your feet pressed against the earth, holds the moon in orbit, binds the sun with its planets. In your body you know gravity intimately. It grounds you. And yet, when you look beyond Earth, into the vastness of the cosmos, gravity should not only pull down, it should pull everything together. Stars should drift toward one another, galaxies should gather into tighter clusters, and the universe should eventually collapse back into its own embrace. But that is not what you see. The stars above whisper of a different story. Far from drawing closer, they drift away. Galaxies do not fall toward one another, they separate. The further a galaxy lies, the faster it recedes. The universe does not shrink, it stretches, slowly, steadily, silently. A vast cosmic unfolding, as if space itself is a fabric being pulled at its edges. You sit with this idea, letting it soften inside you. Expansion. The word itself feels strange when spoken about the universe. For when you expand, you stretch outward from something. You take up more room. But the universe does not expand into a larger container. There is no empty chamber surrounding it. The universe simply expands itself, making more space where there was none before, like a breath that creates its own lungs, like a ripple on still water that carries its own circle of expansion. You notice how strange it feels. Space is not nothing. It is something flexible, pliable, stretching in silence. You imagine galaxies like lanterns placed on this invisible fabric. The lanterns themselves do not move, but the cloth beneath them is drawn apart, carrying them farther away from one another. Light drifts through that stretching, and even light feels the slow dilation of the cosmos. This thought does not come with noise. It is not explosive. It is not sudden. It is not a storm that tears things apart in violence. It is a drift so subtle you can only measure it across the vast distances of billions of years. To your eyes, it is invisible. To your senses, it is inaudible. But in the quiet, the truth rests. Space is growing. And here comes the question, like a soft tap at the edge of your awareness. What makes it grow? You feel gravity's pull every moment. You see it in falling rain, in oceans rising and falling with the moon's embrace. Gravity is everywhere, constant, persistent, unrelenting. If it is the rule, then what is this other force that dares to oppose it? Something unseen resists gravity's universal claim. Something silent stretches the fabric, undoing gravity's eternal tug. And it does so not with violence, but with persistence. You let this paradox sit gently within you. Two invisible rulers of the cosmos. Gravity, the puller, and expansion, the stretcher. Gravity gathers, expansion disperses. One clings, the other loosens. And together they choreograph the motion of galaxies, the rhythm of stars, the destiny of the universe itself. Your thoughts drift backward through history, to the moment humans first wondered at this expansion. At first, no one imagined it. The night skies seemed unchanging, eternal, fixed. Stars had burned for as long as human memory could recall. The ancients mapped them, told stories across their patterns, navigated oceans with their steady positions. Eternity seemed written into the heavens. It was not until the 20th century, with careful observations of light, that the truth revealed itself. The galaxies are moving apart. This discovery came softly, though it shook human thought at its foundation. Light from distant galaxies is stretched. Its colors shifted toward red, as if the galaxies are retreating, pulling away, leaving their light elongated like a fading echo. This red shift is a signature of expansion. It tells you that the universe does not hold still. It tells you that the fabric beneath everything is gently being drawn wider. You breathe in this thought, as if taking a slow step into a larger room. Expansion, what you thought was eternal stillness, is, in fact, change. And this change has been happening for billions of years, unnoticed until human eyes became sharp enough to see it. You realize that what feels still is never still. The universe is always in motion, always flowing, always carrying galaxies apart. And beneath this realization, another question rises. Expansion is real, but what drives it? What is the hand at the edge of space that pulls it outward? Scientists have given it a name, dark energy. But a name is only a placeholder, a marker for the unknown. Dark energy is not light, not touch, not matter, not even energy in the ordinary sense, you know. It is a force without a face, a whisper without a voice. It is only seen in what it does. It stretches. You close your eyes and let the mystery rest. Against you, more than 2/3 of the universe is made of this hidden presence. The stars, you see, the planets, the gas, the dust, all of it makes up less than a fraction. Most of the universe is something you cannot sense. You live in a cosmos whose majority is silence, and yet, in that silence, you find calm. The stars continue to shine. The galaxies continue to spin. Your breath continues to rise and fall. The mystery does not disturb the rhythm. It deepens it. You are not required to solve it now, only to rest within its presence. The question lingers like a soft lantern glow at the edge of your awareness. If gravity is destined to pull everything inward, what invisible force could be stronger than Gravity itself. What power can take the whole universe and set it gently drifting apart? You feel the weight of this paradox resting lightly on you, like the hush of night. It does not press for an answer. It only asks you to notice, to wonder, to dwell in the stillness where the stars seem eternal and yet are not. The thought closes softly, like a door left ajar. The night sky remains above you, steady in appearance, trembling in truth. And the question breathes one last time within you. What force is stretching space apart, and how far will it go? There is a hush in your thoughts as you turn again to the vastness above. The universe feels calm, as though everything has always been as it is now. Yet when you let your awareness settle into the deep time of the cosmos, you notice something subtle. Stillness is not true stillness. Beneath the quiet lies a gentle drift, a spreading out that never stops. This drift is the expansion of the universe. Galaxies are not fixed lanterns in the sky. They are carried away from one another as if upon an invisible current. The space between them is what grows. They do not move across space the way a boat moves across water. Instead, the water itself grows wider, and the boats, without paddling, are drawn apart. You let this image rest softly in your mind. A slow river of light, galaxies glowing like lanterns, drifting not because they row, but because the river itself stretches. This expansion is not hurried. It is patient, as though the universe exhales without ever inhaling back. The realization of this expansion came only recently in human history. For centuries, the cosmos was thought to be eternal and unchanging. The stars were mapped as though fixed in a perfect dome, even as telescopes revealed faint clouds beyond the Milky Way. No one yet suspected that these clouds, these galaxies, were moving away from us in every direction. You linger in that unknowing. It feels vast. It feels humbling. Most of the universe remains beyond comprehension, and yet that does not frighten you. Instead, it slows your breath, deepens your calm. Mystery is not an absence. It is an invitation. It invites you to wonder, to listen, to rest in the presence of the unknown. Dark energy is not violent. It does not tear apart atoms or rip through galaxies. It works only in the emptiness between, in the spaces no gravity can hold. Where stars are bound together, they remain. Where galaxies are gathered, they continue to spin. But between the clusters, in the dark expanses, the phantom stretches. Quietly, steadily, insistently. You realize something as you dwell on this. The future of the universe belongs to this phantom. Gravity ruled the past. It gathered matter into stars, drew clouds into galaxies, shaped planets, shaped you. But dark energy rules the future. It decides the destiny of the cosmos, and that destiny is outward, ever outward. The lanterns of galaxies drift apart. The night sky, so full today, will thin. The faintest galaxies will slip from view, crossing horizons of light that can never be crossed again. You sit with this image, a future where the sky grows darker, not because stars have gone out, but because they have drifted beyond sight. Loneliness awaits the far future of the cosmos, a silence written into its expansion. And yet, this silence is not cruel. It is simply the rhythm of the phantom. It is the long breath of dark energy, carrying everything away. Even here, in your own small moment, you can sense the echo of this mystery. Your body itself is made of atoms, born in stars, gathered by gravity, brought into closeness. but the space between your atoms is vast compared to their size. And even there, in that emptiness, the phantom hums, not strong enough to undo your bonds, but present all the same. You carry the universe's mystery within you, as surely as the galaxies carry it across billions of light years. And so, you lean closer to the unknown, not to solve it, but to rest beside it. Dark energy is not something you can hold, not something you can picture clearly, not something you can define in simple words, but you can feel its presence in the rhythm of the cosmos. You can watch galaxies drift and know that something unseen is guiding them. You can breathe and imagine the universe breathing with you, its silent exhale written across time. You close your eyes gently. Most of the universe is hidden. You live within a fraction, a sliver, a thin slice of light. And yet, that thin slice is enough to reveal the existence of the phantom. Enough to show you that the cosmos is more than what you see. Enough to remind you that mystery is not absence, but fullness. Dark energy remains, silent, invisible, unnamed beyond metaphor, and in its silence, it carries the fate of all things. There is a rhythm written into the fabric of the universe, soft and patient, older than stars. If you listen closely, you find that the cosmos has not only expanded, it has rippled, like sound carried through an ancient ocean of matter and light. Waves once moved through the newborn universe, leaving behind patterns that remain even now. These ripples, though frozen in time, became the scaffolding upon which galaxies formed, and today they serve as delicate rulers. Measuring the very scale of the cosmos, you begin with a simple thought. Sound is vibration, a wave that travels through air, through water, through any medium that can carry it. The early universe, dense and hot, was itself a medium. It was filled with particles of matter and streams of light, locked together in a tight embrace. Through this ocean, pressure waves traveled, ripples of compression and release, like the steady pulse of a drumbeat. These were the first cosmic oscillations, baryon acoustic oscillations. The name may sound heavy, but the picture is gentle. Waves moving outward in expanding circles, carrying matter and light with them. Imagine dropping a pebble into a still pond. The ripples spread outward, each one carrying a record of the pebble's fall. Now imagine the universe itself as the pond, and the ripples as waves of sound that once moved through it. The pond did not remain forever. As the universe cooled, light broke free and drifted on its own. The ripples froze, their expansion halted, but their imprint remained. Where the waves had pressed matter together, galaxies were more likely to form. Where they had stretched it thin, empty space would grow. And so, even now, billions of years later, you can see the faint pattern left by those ancient ripples in the arrangement of galaxies across the sky. You rest with this thought: galaxies are not scattered randomly, they are arranged with a rhythm, a spacing set by those first waves, like lanterns on a river. Their placement holds memory of the ripples that carried them. This spacing has become a kind of ruler. By measuring the distances between galaxies, by tracing the faint pattern of their clustering, scientists can tell how far the universe has expanded. The ripples serve as a yardstick written into the cosmos itself, an unchanging scale against which the growth of space can be measured. You let this soften into you. The universe has left its own ruler in the sky, and through it you can measure its breadth, its stretch, its acceleration. The ripples tell you not just where galaxies are, but how far they have drifted, and how quickly the space between them has grown. They are echoes you can still trace, a soft song written into the architecture of everything. It feels almost poetic. Sound, once carried through a plasma of light and matter, has become the measure of space itself. The cosmos remembers its own music, and that memory guides you. The galaxies today are not just lights in the night. They are notes arranged on a staff, written into the score of expansion. You pause and let the metaphor deepen when you listen. To a song, you can often tell its rhythm even if the instruments fall silent. You hear the beat carried in your memory. The universe, too, carries its beat, though the waves themselves no longer move. The rhythm is frozen in space, a ghost of sound, still guiding the motion of galaxies. The ripples tell you something else. As well, they confirm the presence of the phantom you met earlier. Dark energy. Without dark energy, the spacing of galaxies would follow only the tug of gravity. The universe would slow, the distances between clusters would stretch less. But the ripples tell a different story. They reveal acceleration, a faster drift, a cosmos urged outward by something unseen. So in these gentle oscillations, you see both past and future. You see the memory of the early universe glowing with its first light, and you see the path it now follows, drawn outward by the hidden hand of dark energy. You linger in the calmness of this realization. The universe carries within itself the records of its own birth, and those records are not hidden away. They are written across the placement of galaxies, across the cosmic web that spans the sky. To look out at the night is to see not only stars, but patterns. And to notice those patterns is to read the soft diary of the cosmos, each page marked by the ripples of its earliest breath. There is comfort in this. For all the mystery of dark energy, for all the questions still unanswered, the universe has given you a key, a rhythm, a spacing, a measure, and with it, you are not lost in the vastness. You are guided, gently, by the memory of the waves. You breathe slowly, and the thought settles deeper. Galaxies are like boats on a tide that has long since passed. They drift where the ripples placed them. They carry within their positions the hidden story of sound waves that have not moved in billions of years, yet still echo in their arrangement. And you, a tiny being on one planet, can read those echoes. You can trace the hidden tide. You can measure the breadth of the cosmos. It is as though the universe is both instrument and song. The ripples were its music, the galaxies its notes, the expansion its melody. And though you hear only fragments, though the sound itself has faded, the harmony remains. You rest in this thought. The universe remembers itself. It holds its beginnings in patterns you can still see, if only you look closely, and within those patterns lies both a whisper of the past and a clue to the future. The ripples do not end the mystery. They do not explain why dark energy exists, or how far it will carry the cosmos, but they guide you gently to the question. They invite you closer. They remind you that the universe carries its own map, drawn in the spacing of galaxies, etched in the silence of expansion. There is a tenderness in the night sky that hides a truth too vast for the eye. The galaxies, shining like scattered jewels, do not rest where they are. They move, carried by the fabric of space as it stretches. What looks to you like permanence is only the slowness of change, a rhythm too wide to see in a single lifetime. And yet, the drift is real. The galaxies are. Leaving one another, you rest with this realization, letting it unfold gently. Galaxies are immense islands of light, each holding hundreds of billions of stars, clouds of dust, rivers of gas, and countless worlds. Gravity binds them together, shaping their spiral arms, anchoring their clusters of suns. Inside each galaxy, the stars circle, bound to a center, often to a massive black hole that steadies their orbit. Within these islands, there is closeness, a dance that endures. But between the islands, there is only drift. The oceans of space that separate galaxies grow wider, and those islands sail away from one another like lanterns on different currents. The Milky Way, your home, is one of these lanterns. It glows with its billions of stars, but beyond it, other galaxies recede, carried by the slow breath of expansion. You let this thought settle. The stars you see are only half the story. Every glowing spiral, every elliptical cloud of light is wrapped in an unseen cocoon of matter. The architecture of galaxies is drawn not only by the stars, but by what is hidden beyond them. Dark matter does not clump into suns. It does not burn, it does not scatter light, but it binds galaxies, pulls clusters together, and sculpts the cosmic web. The grand filaments of the universe, stretching across billions of light years, are traced not by light, but by darkness. The visible galaxies are beads strung along invisible threads. Like dewdrops on a spider's web you cannot see. This hidden scaffolding gives the universe its shape. You look at the sky and see stars, but what you truly see are the outlines of something larger, something invisible, something that holds. And then, within those galaxies, another hidden architect works: black holes. They, too, are unseen, but their presence is undeniable. At the heart of nearly every galaxy lies a supermassive black hole, millions or billions of times the mass of your sun. Gravity around them is so intense that nothing, not even light, can escape. Yet black holes are not just destroyers, they are organizers. Their immense pull steadies the motion of stars, regulates the flow of gas, and anchors the heart of galaxies. Some of them blaze with energy as matter spirals inward and releases light brighter than all the stars around them. Others remain quiet, dark monarchs reigning in silence. You rest with this thought: black holes and dark matter are invisible, yet without them there would be no galaxies. They are like the bones beneath the skin, the beams within the cathedral, the scaffolding behind the facade. They are absence that creates presence, silence that creates structure. But even these hidden architects are not beyond the reach of dark energy. The phantom of expansion stretches the fabric of space itself. Dark matter halos, so vast and steady, cannot prevent the widening. Black holes, dense and eternal as they seem, cannot halt the drift of galaxies away from one another. The architecture they build is real, but it rests on foundations that are themselves stretching apart. You pause, letting the fragility sink in. The cosmos looks solid, eternal, permanent. Galaxies seem steadfast, as though they could shine forever. But behind the light lies darkness, behind the visible lies the invisible, and behind both lies a fabric that is not fixed, but expanding. Even the hidden architects build on moving ground. This realization deepens your awe. The universe is not held by what you see. It is held by what you cannot see, what you can only infer, what you can only feel through its effects. You are small, but your awareness reaches into these mysteries, sensing architects made of shadow, imagining foundations that cannot be touched. You close your eyes and picture a cathedral of stars. Its pillars are black holes, its arches are drawn by dark matter halos. Its windows are galaxies of light. shining in colors spread across the spectrum. And yet, the floor beneath it all, the very foundation, is stretching outward, carried by dark energy. The cathedral is real, but it is not permanent. Its stones drift apart, slowly, silently, inevitably. Still, the cathedral stands for now. Galaxies spin, stars orbit, black holes anchor, dark matter binds. The hidden architects continue their work, even as expansion pulls at the edges. You live in the time when the structure is still intact, when the architecture still holds, when the cathedral still glows with light. There is calm in this thought. To see the fragility of the universe is not to despair, it is to marvel. The cosmos is vast, not because it is permanent, but because it is intricate. Its beauty lies in the way it builds, in the way it holds, even knowing it cannot hold forever. And so you breathe into the silence. Black holes spin in darkness. Dark matter binds in invisibility. Galaxies glow in fragile balance. The hidden architects work unseen, shaping the sky you look upon. Their work is not eternal, but it is enough. There is a softness in the thought of distance, a hush that settles when you realize how much of reality lies beyond your reach. You look at the night sky and see stars. You look at galaxies, nebulae, faint clusters glowing like lanterns across the dark, and it feels as though you are seeing the universe. Yet what you see is only a fraction, a thin veil draped over something far vaster. Most of the universe cannot be touched. Your hands cannot feel dark matter, though it passes through you in endless streams. Your eyes cannot see dark energy, though it guides the destiny of galaxies. Even space itself, the fabric in which everything exists, is beyond touch. You know it only through the way it bends light, the way it carries time, the way it allows expansion. The very ground of reality is untouchable. You pause, letting this truth rest inside you. The senses that serve you every day, sight, touch, sound, are small windows, suited for survival here on Earth. They are not wide enough to reveal the cosmos. Light is your greatest guide, but even light shows only the visible surface. It does not reveal the hidden scaffolding of dark matter or the quiet breath of dark energy. Most of what is real slips through you unnoticed, and yet you are not cut off from it entirely. You sense the invisible by its echoes, by the marks it leaves behind. You do not see dark matter, but you see how it holds galaxies in place. You do not feel dark energy, but you watch galaxies drift faster and faster apart. You do not touch spacetime, but you watch how it bends starlight and cradles planets in orbit. It is as though you live in the shadow of a presence too vast to grasp, perceiving only the outlines of what is truly there. The universe is a veil, and your awareness brushes only its surface. But even that brushing reveals enough to fill you with wonder. You reflect on how much of reality lies in silence. Dark matter makes up most of the mass of galaxies, yet it does not shine. Dark energy fills most of the universe, yet it does not glow. What you see, stars, planets, dust, light, is less than 5% of the whole. 95% of the cosmos is hidden. You are a guest in a universe you cannot fully sense, and still you are not excluded. The hidden parts make themselves known in subtle ways. You measure the rotation of galaxies, the bending of light, the ripples in the cosmic background. You read the signatures left by what you cannot touch, and in that reading you find connection. You are not blind, you are simply limited. This limitation carries humility. Your body is made for one world, yet your mind has reached into the farthest realms, imagining what you cannot see. Your senses are small, but your curiosity is vast. And that curiosity allows you to glimpse the universe beyond your reach, to touch it in thought, if not in hand. You pause and let the thought soften. The universe is not yours to hold. It is yours to witness. It is yours to wonder about. It is yours to reflect upon in the quiet hours when the sky glows faintly above. There is peace in this. You do not need to touch everything to belong to it. You are part of the same cosmos that holds dark matter, dark energy, and spacetime itself. You share the same fabric, the same origin, the same unfolding. You are woven into the veil even if you cannot pull it aside. And perhaps this is how it must be. If you could see everything, feel everything, grasp everything, there would be no mystery. But mystery is what deepens your awe. It is what makes the universe not just knowable, but beautiful. The unseen invites you to lean closer, to listen, to wonder. It asks you to rest in the knowledge that not all questions have answers. Yet, and not all truths can be touched. You think of the night sky again, filled with its scattered lights. Those lights are anchors for your vision, but behind them lies something larger, unseen. Behind every star lies a halo of dark matter. Behind every galaxy lies the breath of dark energy. Behind every beam of starlight lies the bending of space-time itself. You do not see these things, but they are always there, shaping the glow you do see. The visible is a trace of the invisible. This thought carries a tenderness. Your life is also made of unseen things. Bonds between atoms you cannot perceive, electrical signals in your brain you do not notice, the flow of time you cannot stop. You live within mysteries on every scale, both cosmic and personal. The untouchable surrounds you and you are sustained by it, so you rest in this awareness. The universe cannot be touched, not fully, but you can dwell within it, carried by its rhythms, held by its laws, guided by its unseen architects. You are both small and vast, fragile and infinite, bound to the visible and the invisible alike. The more you accept this, the calmer you feel. You do not need to solve the mystery tonight. You only need to breathe in its presence, to let it cradle you as the universe cradles the stars. The untouchable does not exclude you. It enfolds you. There is a difference between movement and acceleration. Movement can be steady, predictable, even comforting. But acceleration carries a different weight. It changes not. Expansion followed by contraction, birth followed by death, repeated endlessly. A cosmic heartbeat, forever beating. This vision is softer still. It suggests that endings are not endings, but transitions. The death of one universe may give birth to another, each cycle carrying forward the memory of what came before. Yet even here, the question remains unanswered. What is the true nature of dark energy? Without knowing, you cannot be certain of any fate. You let all these possibilities drift through you like dreamscapes. The big crunch, a return to fire. The big freeze, a fading into silence. The heat death, the exhaustion of all energy. The cycles, the eternal heartbeat of universes without end. Each is a different silence, a different rhythm of ending. And so you reflect the future of the cosmos is not written in certainty. It is written in possibilities, in the balance of forces you cannot yet fully know. Perhaps this uncertainty itself is the deepest truth. To live in a universe whose fate is unknown is to live in wonder. The endings do not frighten you. They calm you. They remind you that all things pass, and that passing is natural. The stars above you are temporary. The galaxies themselves are temporary. Even the fabric of space and time may be temporary. Yet, within this fleetingness, there is beauty. You exist now in the era when the universe is bright and alive, when galaxies still glow, when stars still burn. The future, whether it is collapse or freeze, is far beyond you. The present is yours. The silence of endings is distant, but the music of now is immediate. You breathe slowly, feeling the weight of impermanence transform into gentleness. The universe may end in many ways, but for you it simply continues in this moment with stars overhead and breath within. Endings are distant. Wonder is here. There is a quiet tension woven into the universe, a balance so vast and delicate that you hardly notice it. Every star, every galaxy, every cluster of light rests in the pull of gravity. It is the force you know best, steady and unyielding, holding your body to the earth and keeping planets in their endless paths around the sun. Gravity gathers, gravity binds, gravity steadies. Yet, against it, something else presses. Expansion, stretches, dark energy urges outward. The universe exists between these two, caught in a tug-of-war across the fabric of space. To live now is to dwell in the middle of this balance, in the fragile pause where galaxies remain bright, where stars continue their dance. Even as the future leans toward separation, you begin with the thought of gravity itself. It is not loud, not violent, but ever present. You do not see it directly. You see its effects. Apples fall, rivers flow downward, your feet remain planted on the ground. On the cosmic scale, gravity sculpts the vast architecture of everything you know. It draws gas into clouds, clouds into stars, stars into galaxies. It bends the path of light, curves the shape of time, and anchors the universe in its invisible net. Without gravity, there would be no closeness. Stars would not form, planets would not circle, galaxies would not exist. It is the glue of existence, pulling everything inward, giving shape to the formless. You carry it with you always, in every heartbeat, in every step. And yet, even this ancient, universal pull cannot fully overcome expansion. Dark energy presses outward, weakening gravity's reach on the largest scales. Galaxies remain bound within themselves. Their stars cling to one another. Clusters of galaxies remain bound too, held by their shared gravity. But beyond these pockets, the stretching dominates. The cosmic web pulls apart, its threads lengthened into silence. You let this paradox settle softly in you. Gravity pulls everything together. Expansion pulls everything apart. And between them lies the universe as you know it, neither collapsing fully, nor drifting into silence too quickly, but suspended for now in a delicate middle ground. It feels like a cosmic balance beam, one side heavy with closeness, the other with dispersal. For billions of years, gravity was the stronger. It gathered matter, built stars, created galaxies, shaped the luminous universe. But now, dark energy leads, expansion quickens. Slowly, gravity's empire shrinks, confined to smaller scales, while the wider cosmos yields to the phantoms. Push. You breathe with the rhythm of this thought. To exist now is to live at a rare time when galaxies are still visible to one another, when stars are still born, when light still travels across billions of years to meet your eyes. In the distant past, gravity built the structures. In the distant future, expansion will scatter them. But here, in the present, you live in the balance between. This balance is fragile. A tiny difference in the strength of gravity or dark energy would have led to a very different universe. If gravity had been slightly stronger, expansion might have slowed long ago, galaxies collapsing back toward one another. If dark energy had been stronger earlier, galaxies might never have formed. Stars might never have lit. You exist because of a narrow equilibrium, a precise tuning that allowed both gathering and scattering to take their turns. You let the wonder of this sink in. The universe is not random chaos, but a delicate interplay of forces, and you are a consequence of that interplay. Your atoms, born in stars, are held together by bonds that exist only because gravity was once strong enough to build stars in the first place. Your life exists only because expansion did not rush too quickly, only because balance was maintained long enough for complexity to arise. There is beauty in this precariousness. Stability does not come from absolutes. It comes from tension, from the meeting of opposites. The cosmos is not shaped by one force alone, but by the dialogue between them, the pull inward, the push outward. Neither wins fully, neither surrenders fully. Together they create the universe you inhabit. You pause and let yourself imagine this balance as a great cosmic dance. Galaxies circle their centers because gravity holds them, but those same galaxies drift apart because expansion urges them outward. Stars shine because gravity compresses their cores, igniting fusion. But even their light stretches into red as expansion carries it across the widening void. The dance is everywhere, in every scale, in every detail. To see this balance is to recognize its fragility. Nothing is guaranteed. A shift in the strength of dark energy, a change in the laws of gravity, could alter everything. The universe feels steady only because you are too small to see its vast motions. But in truth, it is always in flux, always balancing, always poised between gathering and dispersal. And so you breathe into this thought. The cosmos itself is fragile. Its beauty lies in that fragility. Galaxies will not shine forever. Gravity will not always hold sway. Expansion will not always feel gentle. But now, in this moment, there is harmony. The night sky above you is filled with stars because balance still lingers. The balance is not permanent. Already, expansion has taken. The lead, dark energy grows more dominant with time, tilting the cosmic scales. Gravity still rules locally. It keeps the Earth circling the sun bound to the Milky Way. But on the grandest scales, the tide belongs to expansion. The galaxies beyond your local cluster are slipping away, one by one, into unreachable horizons. The balance is fragile, and slowly it shifts. This thought, rather than frightening you, calms you. Balance was never meant to last forever. It was always a pause, a moment between creation and dissolution. You live within that pause. You witness it. You are part of it. You realize that even your own life reflects this pattern. Your body, too, is balanced cells dividing and dying, heartbeats rising and falling, breath flowing in and out. Balance is never stillness. It is movement held in tension, a harmony of opposites. The cosmos itself is like you, alive in its balance, fragile, temporary, beautiful. You close your eyes and rest in the image of galaxies, bright islands suspended in the dark, held together by gravity, drifting apart by expansion. The two continues, silent and patient, across billions of years. You do not need to know the final winner. It is enough to know that balance exists now, that harmony still lingers, that beauty still shines. There is a quiet beauty in the night sky, but beneath that beauty lies structure, an order invisible to your eyes. The galaxies, luminous as lanterns, are not scattered at random. They are shaped, guided, and held by forces you cannot see. These forces are the hidden architects of the universe, builders who never show their hands yet leave behind designs vast enough to span the cosmos. Two of these unseen architects stand out: dark matter and black holes. Both are invisible, both are mysterious, and both are essential. Without them, galaxies would not hold together. Without them, the night sky would not look as it does. You begin with dark matter. The phrase itself feels like a shadow. Dark, because it does not glow. Matter, because it exerts weight, mass, and pull. You cannot touch it, cannot see it, cannot catch it in a beam of light. Yet it surrounds you, passing through you even now, unnoticed. Dark matter is inferred by its effect. Galaxies spin too quickly for their visible matter alone to hold them. Stars at the edges should drift away, like stones flung from a sling, but they do not. They remain bound, moving as though immersed in a great invisible halo of gravity. That halo is dark matter. Dark matter